Peace. Man, happy now. Now is a vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now, wanna bring up the dystopian society. Matter of fact, I just did a video about the dystopia. Matter of fact, how Hollywood always make these movies of these dystopias. Like Hunger Games, Surrogates, uh, Equilibrium, Blade Runner, just all these different movies of you know this environment with this dictatorship, like a totalitarian type of vibe, and people in these little concentration camp and kind of futuristic. Matter of fact, Out of Time is another movie that attests to that idea. And I want to bring up though the connection with the dystopia with how America is doing with weed right now, with cannabis, with the herbs right now, with making it legal, and also what that has to do with masculinity as well, And just to reiterate or re-bring up this quote from Aldous Huxley, where he basically speaking on this dystopian point of view. There will be in the next generation or so a pharmacological method of making people love their servitude and producing dictatorship without tears, so to speak, producing a kind of painless concentration camp for entire societies so that people will in fact have their liberties taken away from them, but will rather enjoy it because they will be distracted from any desire to rebel by propaganda or brainwashing enhanced by pharmacological methods. And this seems to be the final revolution. Basically like he's speaking on whether like more so, producing this dictatorship without tears. Like where it's gonna be eased upon you where you're not gonna realize it. And next thing you know, all your true freedoms is taken away from on a soul level for these little fake what you think are freedoms, but they really just materialistic luxuries in essence, what I'm saying, that you may take as a freedom. And right now, one of the vibes, just to show you, the reality of that dystopia, because for one, they flash it in these movies to program our subconscious, into going in, like being comfortable with the idea of a dystopia. They 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 show it to us in that manner, and in essence making us comfortable and making our minds accept that vibe indirectly without us knowing, because say for instance, otherwise, like, you would be watching this movie. Say, for instance, if you watched a movie and it had this dystopia vibe, and you be like, oh, no, man, y'all better stop making movies like that. Y'all trying to program our subconscious, Like, they would know, like, all right, damn, these motherfuckers woke. We can't even, play with them like that. Compared to what nobody really, as we are, people are awakening, it's still not to the level yet of where, like, people are that knowledgeable of subconscious programming. But with the legalization of, marijuana, and matter of fact, shout out to the brethren, Rizza the Muslim. I mean, Rizza Islam, I'm sorry. Rizza Islam, I'm sorry, brethren, Rizza Islam for some of this information I came across recent on his video, speaking of the herbs, and has to do with just in general, like the idea that I always have around any and all things that if the government supports it, then it's not only making money for them in some way, form, or fashion, but it's also some way, form, or fashion keeping people down. You know what I'm saying? It's keeping people unawoke to what they really, really, truly dealing with, and trying to do, you know. Because, I mean, the fact that people like, oh, herb legal, and even myself, myself included, like, oh man, the cannabis, in which not blindly so, because by the time they start legalizing, everybody kind of was hip to like how certain things move. So I'm like, there's a catch to it. I'm just so open minded and just in the fact of like I'm in this matrix, fuck, smoking my herb, it is what it is. But I do know what I am dealing with. I know I'm dealing with something. Matter of fact, that in essence, demasculize or lowers masculinity and cause or should I say, raises masculinity in women and lowers masculinity in men, you know. And that's another thing, like in essence, still with this you could call it like a genders war. In essence, this somewhat chemical warfare. I mean, I even somewhat. I mean, in essence, chemical warfare. On the people to try to throw off, our wiring and our structure on a gender level. In essence. Again, it's not to get into the homosexual or heterosexual vibe. You are what you are. It is what it is. And facts are facts. Dealing with this situation. It ain't no bashing. It ain't no just speaking facts. And what I was about to say, yeah, dealing with the herb, and at one time, it wasn't as strong as it is now, and then all of a sudden, in which, again, even myself, being somebody that, quote unquote, being somebody that was a pothead, or to a certain extent is one, but not in the sense of like how I was at once, I definitely was like one of just going with the flow of like, oh yeah, it's legal, and this and that, feeding into the hype as well. But, you know, right now also just feeling the urge, spirit giving me that urge to like, you know, keep it real about this situation, in which I always have, but also bringing it up to the forefront because I just finished talking about dystopias, and right now that's one of their little cannabis is one of their little dystopia tools, you could say, right now, that they kind of like, using in essence. But for one, not only, again, on some pharmacological vibes, like giving you these little luxuries and pleasures, so you could be all in this world. Matter of fact, Aldous Huxley had he wrote a book. I don't know if it turned into a movie or not, and it spoke of a dystopia, and they used a drug called soma, where I guess it would just, people probably had like a little, almost, matter of fact, like the brethren like the Skinner box made by B.F. Skinner, which I speak on his quote as well. But like, just like how the mouse could tap on the little thing and get this drug or this food, like how they be testing the little the mice in these little boxes or whatever, which the box was again made by this brethren named B.F. Skinner. The Skinner box is an operant conditioning chamber. But like picturing people being in their houses just like that, and they're showing you straight up how, But anyway, getting a little soma, that was the drug in his story, and that's how they would tap out, tap in and tap out in essence. But not tap in and tapping out in the, in the spiritual awakening sense of it. More of the zombie mode, what I'm saying, of that situation or of that phrase, And that's what the herb is being pushed for now. And I always speak about that situation when I went to the cannabis cup and I came across, this herb that was grown outside, and it had so much more of a clearer, effect and vibe to it. It's like you felt the psychoactiveness of the THC, but it wasn't it wasn't like pressurized, like and cloudy. You know what I'm saying? It was a clear vibe. It's like if there could be like a vegan weed, like that was it. Like in essence, that's how they would, they was telling me like, no pesticides grown outdoors with the sunlight, so none of that little system of these fake nutrients and stuff like that. Because also that's another thing with the brethren RZA brought up, like how with all these different strand names, like what you think they doing, to make these strands. In essence, it's not just simple breeding. In essence, of course, by the time it get down to us at this point, but how did it get to that point of having all these different breeds of something that wasn't always naturally growing like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got Ethiopian Highland, Durban Poison, Kali Lime spread on natural land. That's natural land strands, you know what I'm saying? But, all this other stuff, you know, grown indoors with these water systems and all this, And matter of fact, in the THC levels, it's like, almost 80% to like 70% higher than what it once was, Which I was just telling my uncle when I was thinking he wanted to hit it, and I was like, almost hitting him with that speech, like, it's that good stuff, because it's way more stronger though than that stuff that they used to smoke, As I'm saying this and laughing about it though, we do need to start dealing with our herbs in a more, natural form, like getting back to the outdoor format of dealing with it, more organic way of growing it and dealing with it, letting the actual sunlight hit it instead of pumping it inside of this house, Because another thing with with all this, manipulation or just changes within the plant, and even beforehand, in essence, the cannabis plant will cause, a lowering of testosterone, and in essence, you could say, I don't know if it's the actual semen production, because I know it's like, you got your actual semen and sperm, like it's two liquids coming together to actually make the actual sperm come out. But anyway, I just say it lowers the sperm count, and reason why, because I'm wanting to be technical, whether it's the semen itself or the actual sperm count within the semen. Yeah, because it's like it's the actual sperm count, but it lowers that masculinity. And matter of fact, the main threat to a government that's trying to fuck over people is a masculine man, you know what I'm saying? So that's why, it's like, oh, legalize the herb everywhere you go, legalize, where it's becoming more open, you know what I'm saying? Because that's why I knew, like, when Louisiana was becoming open to it, I'm like, oh yeah, they spraying all kind of pesticides on us, and they got some type of little plan, that they got out there implemented, that's like already in place. Like, yeah, we're gonna have it, it's gonna, like I say, just like I used the example of like Obama getting elected, Obama getting elected, in the essence, to try to like calm melanated people down from feeling like racism exists in America. So it's like, here, this black president. So, so people be like, oh, all right, man, they probably do care about us. Look, we got a black president. Like, giving you some bullshit in order to make you feel like you're getting some type of advancements in your freedom, which you're really not. If anything, you know, is even trying to get closer and closer to a lockdown on your ass. But with the herb, it is also promoted to, again, create an over masculine woman and a more feminine man, and when you demasculinize, the man, you have less of your, your strength and your upfrontness. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause one of the things too, like what I get from being in the South too, and why like to a certain extent I see, not even say to a certain extent, but like seeing how polygamy, makes sense in the essence of us being in the true manner of, the feminine energy and masculine energy. Because if, say for instance, a man, we truly in our masculinity, taking care of things, in that nature, then in essence, it would allow for you to, in essence, uh, sexually, have more than one partner, or more than one spouse, in essence, because you're taking care of business on a high level, as the masculine aspect should, you know what I'm saying? Because I look at how, around in Louisiana, again, how God shows itself without even trying. And, a lot of people got these families where Papa might have had, not only had 14 children with this one, but low key, he might have had a few kids over here, a few kids over here, while, having this family. And a lot of times, the wife, the mom knew what was going on, you know what I'm saying? But he took care of business on such a strong masculine level, you know what I'm saying? It, like, it was because again, we get this idea of ownership from more of the European idea of, matter of fact, looking at our indigenous ways of doing things and putting their own twists on it and calling, and making this marriage, in essence. And not to say that that certain people may have not fallen in love or felt like they really love one person in essence, but for the most part, just naturally in the essence of our being, we never had that supreme ownership over each other on that sexual relationship vibe. But what else I want to? But just speaking back to the masculinity, and matter of fact, and something too, the herb smokers, especially, men and women, to be aware of that, so to, keep up. Again, to those that it applied to, of course, to the men, keeping up with your masculinity, and the women, keeping up with your feminine energy, femininity. I don't know. But and just keeping that in check. Cause for myself, realizing like to stay in my exercise mode, like that exercise, in essence, keeping those lower chakras juiced up, energy moving in the lower chakras, kind of giving that masculine vibe, because there is a certain confidence that comes with the masculinity, as a male, on so many levels from a little kid, man. You know, we do a few little push-ups and we feel like we like, I can see the world. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, you feel it, you know, and it's keeping up with that vibe. And you see a lot of you know, to each his own with the way we carry ourselves. Cause you know, like I see well, we got a lot of roster brethren, or even for Bob himself. You know, where Bob will smoke the herb heavy, but shit, he also played soccer heavy too. You know, like he wasn't just no sit back and just smoke herb. You know, in the sense of it like that. You know, it's like shit, be active as well. You know, and you know we want to, of course, we already, a lot of us in a situation where, you know, all we have in essence is the GMO herbs, you know. But let's again raise an awareness, and as we raise awareness, all this thought, you know what I'm saying, we get to a place like high self, universe, please make, you know, let's manifest a way to have more organic herbs. You know what I'm saying? I want to smoke more organic herbs. Envision yourself smoking more organic herbs. You know what I'm saying? And we'll start manifesting this along with actually being active to again raise awareness and, you know, do things that will help us, you know, bring that closer into this physical manifestation. But, you know, actually focusing on it and visualizing as well, that go into it too. You know, and again though, it's that you know, with legalizing the herb, it's just that another sneaky format of that dystopia. You know, matter of fact, let me read the other quote. This quote is from B.F. Skinner. Matter of fact, the guy who created the Skinner box. And he also had a story called Walden 2. Walden 2. Walden, and 2 like the number. It was a utopian story. But anyway, now that we know how positive reinforcement works and why negative doesn't, we can be more deliberate and hence more successful in our cultural design. We can we can achieve a control under which the controlled nevertheless feel free. They are doing what they want to do, not what they are forced to do. That's the source of the tremendous power of positive reinforcement. There is no restraint and no revolt. By a careful design, we control not the final behavior, but the inclination to behave, the motives, the desires, the wishes. The curious thing is that in that case, the question of freedom never arises. You know, so basically, you know, positive reinforcement here. You like weed? Cool, shit. Gonna pump some shit in it that's gonna fuck up, you know, they hormones. You know, and we're gonna make sure we can make a lot of money off of it, so we could, you know, monopolize other areas. You know, we're gonna let them have that weed. You know, the more they feel free, the less they gonna know they're slaves. So give them that weed. You know, like that's what's going on right now, y'all. So as much as it's cool, you know, yeah, you know, bruh, yeah, it's cool to, you know, have the herbs. But just be aware of what's going on, you know. Like they indirectly, you know, they trying to, they again, not to be focused and be scared and oh the good, nah, you know, because if you watching this message at this point, you know, which of course they'll have newcomers, but anyway, you know, it's not that vibe. You know, it's not to be scared. It's nothing to be scared of. You are God. Ye are gods, children of the Most High. We create this physical matrix with our minds. You know what I'm saying? So we know what's going on. We know what we need to be focused on creating. You know. But again, you know, like give them the weed. You know, let them dance around. You know, and feel like, you know, like they haven't getting so much freedom right now. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the whole thing. In fact, indirectly, even though I'm speaking of masculinity, but like with which I mean, a relationship is a relationship anyway. But like, with the homosexual marriage thing, like like let them get married, so they, hey, I mean, matter of fact, and that's how you know too. Another thing to dystopia, in essence, giving things that we shouldn't even be having to, you know, uh, celebrate having in essence in it. Like like say for instance, herb should be already legal in the first place, and whoever you want to quote unquote marry or be with is just should be who you want to marry or be with in the first place. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't have to fight for that right. You know what I'm saying? Like that should be something that's just a given in essence. But and again, that the whole herb thing, is an attack at masculinity. And for myself, the only reason why I've been able to grow and become more and more wise is to point out my own bullshit. Like I would never make it this far if I couldn't look in the mirror and say, "Yup, you smoking that herb. You need to stop that shit too, cause it's fucking with you too." You know what I'm saying? Of course, I got my alchemy, vibes of meditating and doing this, but at the same time, it's like still to a certain extent working against myself when I know I could be being cleaner at the end of the day. Because we could tap into all these different realms without any substances, and that's a fact. You know, anybody that say otherwise, they're a little bit too addicted to to whatever it is that that they're promoting to keep it real about the situation. But I have no problem with keeping it real. Like I sit here and talk about herb like a dog, and then backdoor and light one up because I am what I am, and I'm gonna do what I do. It is what it is. It's I love myself. In a paradoxical oxymoronic way, like I smoke this GMO weed. I love myself. But just in the essence of being me, like but again though, being aware though of my masculinity, dealing with the smoking the herbs, it's like staying in the masculine vibes, because again, that's why with a lot of videos, I make sure, and you'll see, especially with this full moon in Aries, why deliver these messages, I might curse a little more and have, what I'm saying, have more of a little to the delivery of the message, and that's what they're afraid of, is that masculinity. So that's why they promote, they get, and that's why the chess game of, say for instance, I heard something, I'm not true, so I'm not in it, but I know this is true. Like these basketball players or whatever. Say for instance, might have a little handbag like a purse or something. Let's see. I mean, I got my little satchel, that my little fanny pack I wear. You know what I'm saying? But because it is a balance in not how could I say, being overly masculine till you're closed minded in essence. Like, bro, I like a fanny pack. It doesn't nothing to my sexuality. Like I'm still, a man. But like, where the chess game, though, like where they do support these vibes or purses and this and that, and it's a chess game in the essence of, I mean, shit. If you a man, it don't matter if you have something that look like a purse or not. But to the little kids looking on, and people being influenced by, indirectly you programming people's subconscious to flow more and more into a certain vibe, you know what I'm saying, indirectly, and that's what they do with a lot of this fashion and support of different things, is to, again, masculinity is like their worst enemy in essence, as far as to, again, trying to create this, this dystopian vibe, as well as just trying to control things. That's why they did, slave plantations, embarrass the man, castrate the man, cut his stuff off, and probably rape him in front of his wife and family, you know what I'm saying? Like to, like really get at his masculinity. And nowadays they just do it, symbolically, not so much physically. Like, for example, Terry Crews, the actor, with his this guy touching his dick at this party or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, where that Hollywood stuff coming out to the up front, but that stems from that, that same vibe. Trying to demasculinize, and the herbs, making the herbs. So again, that's why they have no problem too. Again, the chess game, say for instance, like, with a Snoop Dogg, say for instance, much love to my brother Snoop, I love you, my brother. I know we gonna link, it is what it is, but the promotion of that herb, and again, that's where it's up to, that's how, at least I know that's how, like, and that's how, once you get to that level, you see, like, in essence, I'm gonna do so much, but I'm gonna live my life, as far as like, with some of these stars where, they in the chess game of it, of like, what they do stuff and promote stuff that's with the gender, but they also gonna, they're gonna throw you a bone and let you know what's real or whatever, but they also gonna, do them and make their little change off of, in essence, doing shit that might be brainwashed, you know what I'm saying, at the same time. But like with the promotion of a Snoop or a Wiz, like all of, like, Cheech and Chong coming back out and all that, you know what I'm saying, like this promotion of the herb. Again, the CBD, the non-psychoactive part of cannabis, the CBD is very helpful for for people catching seizures, also for healing cancer, and just healthy substance in general, is the THC is the psychoactive part. Like the THC is the part that, makes you feel some kind of way, mind and body wise, And it's not to say you can't tap into these certain realms with the herb, on the spiritual level, but again, they're trying to spray down the herbs with all these pesticides. Matter of fact, and I saw something that recently that showed, like, whenever your herb buds. Matter of fact, shit, since I'm here, why not? Let me see if it's like your herb buds should be a little more open. Like, to a certain extent, like more leafy and not like it said that they form them little small tight balls a lot of the times because of a certain pesticide. And matter of fact, as I'm saying this is only because my intuition making me feel comfortable with sharing that much of the information, but definitely go and do further research on that. But something just kind of told me to share that in the moment, as well, while I'm talking about it, because it may be some truth to it, as I just indirectly scan my memory of, like, herb I smoked and the way it looked and how I felt afterwards, and like how some, have this chemical, again, pressurized vibe compared to that Northern Cali herb I had that was growing outside organically, and it was just like, again, some of the best herb I ever smoked. Because when she said outdoor, I'm just automatically like, we just associate that with Reggie, or if y'all not familiar with the terminologies, regular herb or Reggie, like Reggie Miller or Reggie Bush. But anyway, I'm like, oh man, that's some type of Reggie, but it's like smoked it, and it was just as good as the Doty. Doty is another terminology. Hydro, or the hydroponic herbs, and again, there may be a way to still do hydroponic in a more natural way, but Source got Earth here for a reason. Things growing from Earth already, for a reason. We don't want to veer too far off from, what Source, aka ourselves, our higher selves put here, for us in essence. And again, just being aware of the vibe of just trying to, just give them luxury, just make early. If they give us anything, this country, this place, and all of these governments, not just our country, you know what I'm saying? Like, our country just the fucking craziest. uh, you know, what was I gonna say? Yeah, they've been trying to, a country that always is like every second, every minute they scheming on how they gonna fucking like fuck over you. Like every person at a news place right now at CNN and every place at the top is trying to find out how in the fuck we gonna create, what kind of story we gonna create to brainwash everybody. Like day and night they are focused on fucking over you. Like every second. You know what I'm saying? And that's not for us to fight. That's why we should be focused on them. You know what I'm saying? Like focus on bettering ourselves and focus on, in fact, like reading our little crystal books and our numerology books and finding out how this energy move inside of us, man. Like the my entire, you know what I'm saying? Like we need to be focused on this. Getting ourselves together, getting this chi energy. In fact, you see that? Getting the chi energy. But not that foolishness. Again, this is bringing up awareness. Because without awareness, again, the slaves that don't know they slaves, you know what I'm saying? So with this awareness, it's like, all right, yeah, I know this shit is some slavish shit, so let me wake up to this and stop doing this, or make other people aware to this so we won't fall victim to this situation. Not fear mongering, not scaring nobody, because this is not like they making this happen. In essence, like it goes by us, you know what I'm saying? Like, the more aware, like this video making people aware, then just created that much less of it, happening in essence. Just through awareness. But that's basically it. And again, with the herb smoke, taking away the masculinity, the THC, just the cannabis in general, just throwing off the hormones, and that's one of their main things, is using it as chemical warfare. But because it's like, oh, La di da. Oh man, they got herb legal, man. Nah, man, that's chemical warfare on us, man. They making something legal. They give you anything like a free flu shot. Just think about that. Like just think about the day when they start like, are we giving free grams of herb at CVS? How you gonna feel about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, will you really feel like you want to line up for that herb? Or will you be like, oh no, they probably put some. You know what I'm saying? You like, oh no, they put some of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Which again, that's kind of the whole situation with it being, becoming legal right now in that sense. You know, but I digress. Peace. Happy now. Now is a vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right